measuring a whopping 33.2 centimetres or 1.09 feet each, 1-year-old Basset Hound Jack has broken the Guinness World Record for the longest dog ears. Jack's ears are so long he sometimes trips over them and constantly drags them along the ground. Owner Claudia Bass said it all started when she and her husband, Karsten, read an article in their local paper about a Basset Hound and its alleged longest ears in the world. But the family soon discovered that Jack's ears were even longer. Bass said the family bought the dog because Bassets are good with children. When a representative for the Guinness Book of World Records contacted them, Claudia and Karsten knew they had a world record holder living under their roof. According to the dog owner's guide, the Basset Hound is extremely loyal, needs only moderate exercise, and is relatively easy to train. Although, he can be stubborn at times. Rejected by their biological parents, two female baby bears, Izette and Lisette, have found a new mother in Velga Vitola, an employee at the Gauja National Park in central Latvia. The two baby bears, 3-year-old Izette and 2-year-old Lisette, now share a small house with Velga and her teenage children. The biological mother of both bear cubs, who lives in captivity, has refused to raise them. All her cubs before these two had died. Frustrated with seeing young bears die, Velga decided to give it a try and took home her first bear 3 years ago. She had little hope for success then. Velga had no experience of raising bear cubs. Experts from the Riga Zoo could not help either, since none of them had taken care of bears in a human environment. Velga says that in the end she used skills and knowledge gained raising her own children, and after a while, Izette seemed to adapt to Velga's house. 1 year later, Velga felt she was up to try raising a second abandoned bear. For safety reasons, both baby bears live in cages, but regularly go for walks with their foster mother in the nearby forest. But as a feared carnivore, a bear is often not aware of its own power and can be dangerous for humans even if they only want to play. But Vitola thinks she's safe. Velga has worked at the National Nature Park, Latvia's biggest wildlife reserve, for many years, helping to raise animals like wolves, hares, deers and elks. But today, bears are her favourites. Just 10 wild bears are believed to live naturally in Latvia's dense forests. Faith is living proof that you can teach a dog new tricks. Two of this pup's legs never fully developed, forcing Faith to learn to walk on her hind legs or be put to sleep. Her owner, Laura Stringfellow, says she got Faith when she was 3 weeks old. Once they realised her legs weren't fully developed, they taught her to stand up in the snow. When she did, her legs got stronger, and Faith just ran across and started walking. Stringfellow says Faith can keep up with the best of them and has a burgeoning film career in Harry Potter films. Faith is proof that no disability can hold her back. Of the many Holy Land refuges set up across Israel and the Palestinian territories to rescue victims of cruelty and fighting, Lucy Fensom's has to be among the most original. This former British Airways stewardess gave up her job flying around the world a few years ago to set up a safe haven for donkeys. It's doing a roaring trade now, taking in injured donkeys from Israel and the Palestinian territories and giving them a safe haven where they can finish their days in peace. Donkeys are still a major form of transport in Palestinian areas on both sides of the divide, but they are often the object of considerable cruelty. Fensom says she has rescued donkeys that were set alight, had nails driven into them, or had been beaten. At the sanctuary, they are brought back to health and put out to pasture. The most common form of injury the sanctuary has to deal with are those caused by hobbling. The owner ties the leg with wire or rope to stop the animal from moving. But very often the restraint bites into the flesh, causing horrible wounds, which occasionally lead to the limb having to be amputated. Fensom, at present, is taking care of over 72 donkeys, which she has rescued from points as far as southern Israel and Hebron and Gaza in the West Bank. Fensom scoffs at critics who question why she is taking care of animals when there is so much human suffering in the region, and she says that, tragic as it is, human conflict should not deprive animals of their right not to suffer. And by setting up free veterinarian clinics in the villages she visits, she says the sanctuary helps families take care of their animals, which are a source of income to them. The sanctuary is a British charity that survives largely from donations out of the UK. But Fensom says the growing popularity of the facility is now attracting funding from the US and even Israel. There could be some light at the end of the tunnel for endangered sea turtles that need total darkness to nest and hatch in Malaysia. Sea turtles need to nest and hatch in the dark to prevent predators from preying on them. Their predators range from birds to crabs. Lights can also confuse turtle hatchlings and interfere with their innate ability to find the sea after emerging from their eggs. Malaysia has set aside 60 hectares of coastal habitat in its east coast Terengganu state as a sanctuary for the turtles that traverse the Pacific Ocean to lay their eggs before taking off to sea again. 4 of the world's 7 species of sea turtles nest in Malaysia, but in declining numbers. They are the giant leatherback, hawksbill, olive ridley, and green turtles. Wildlife officials say the number of leatherback nests has fallen to alarming levels, from over 10,000 a few decades ago to less than 10 in recent years. Experts say the decline of Malaysian sea turtles is due to several factors, including over-harvesting of eggs, accidental snaring in fishing nets, and destruction of turtle feeding grounds. The nesting turtles also end up as food in feeding grounds in other countries, and the shells are sought after as souvenirs. The Madeira Turtle Sanctuary Rookery is one of 6 prime turtle rookeries in Terengganu, and experts hope the rest will also be designated as sanctuaries soon. For centuries, rumours of mysterious white lions circulated in South Africa. Legend says the white pelage represented the good to be found in all creatures. Claims of sightings of the white lion started to surface in 1928. Scattered reports continued, but confirmation that these animals were really white did not come until 1975, when a litter containing 2 white cubs was seen at Timbavati Game Reserve, adjacent to Kruger National Park. Along with this also came the understanding that however rare and beautiful these animals were, they were also at great risk in the wild. A white lion cub would attract predators like the hyena, or have trouble concealing itself when hunting on the savannah. A number of lions within the reserve have been killed by poachers, but the African lion as a whole has been decimated due to the loss of their natural habitat. However, several lions still survive from the original strain, all in captivity. The breeding of white lions in various zoos around the world must be handled very carefully. White tigers and white lions may originate from different parts of the world, but they share a common problem. Both have been extensively inbred to their own close relatives in an attempt to reproduce the unusual white coats. As with the white tiger, experts actively discourage breeding to specifically reproduce the white pelage. White lions are not albino, as they have pigmentation, which shows particularly in eye, paw, pad and lip colour. The correct term for their condition is leucism, a state where there is near normal eye colour, but loss of pigment in the skin and fur. Almost 100 endangered orangutans found in a Thai zoo are undergoing DNA testing to determine if they were illegally smuggled from Indonesia. Hair, saliva and blood samples were collected by forensic experts from 7 female and 88 baby orangutan in what conservationists believe could be the world's biggest case of ape smuggling. The 115 orangutans were first noticed during mock kickboxing shows at Bangkok's Safari World. The owners of the amusement park had insisted the apes were the result of a successful breeding program, but have since admitted illegally buying a number of the orangutans. Experts say the test results should be available soon and will pinpoint the birthplace of the orangutan to within a few hundred kilometres. Meanwhile, environmental activists have accused Thai authorities of acting too slowly. They say they are concerned for the welfare of the animals, which are still being housed in small cages at Safari World. The high-profile case has attracted international media coverage. Animal rescue groups have offered to pay for the repatriation of the orangutans if they are found to have come from Indonesia. The apes will need to be rehabilitated and then released into the wild in a process which could take several years. Fewer than 30,000 orangutans remain in the world, and environmentalists say the species could become extinct in 20 years if the decline continues. An animal shelter in the foothills of the Alps in southern Germany received dozens of calls after local media published pictures of a 4-eared cat. 6-month-old Lily. Numerous cat fans around the world were eager to adopt this kitten or make donations to the shelter. Tessie Liederman, who heads the shelter, said Lily will first be neutered and held at the shelter for another 2 weeks. Though no one has ever seen a cat like Lily before, Liederman said the black and white cat with the extra set of ears was not a freak, but rather an energetic, loving and well-adjusted kitten. Lily, born on a farm near the winter resort town famous for hosting the 1936 Winter Olympics, has an extra pair of slightly smaller, non-hearing ears just behind the normal two. Vets have attributed the phenomenon to a gene malfunction. She was given to the shelter because the family had more cats than they could care for. Lily is now waiting for her new home. When brown-coloured Bengal tiger Rani gave birth to her 3 babies, zookeepers at the Hollywood and Safari Park in Sturkenbruck, Gütersloh in northwestern Germany could hardly believe what they saw. One cub, Snow White, one golden and another brown-coloured, as are both parents, 5-year-old Rani and father Raja. According to the Safari Park zookeepers, both Rani and Raja have recessive white genes, and both have one white grandparent. Zookeepers said the tiger babies each weighed about 800 grams at birth and were the size of guinea pigs. They are considered to be fully grown when they weigh about 200 kilograms. Gütersloh Zoo has been breeding white tigers since 1987, and according to the zoo, there are only about 300 white tigers left worldwide, and even less gold-coloured ones. This is perhaps the beautiful piggy face that will sire a racing dynasty. Apollo the pig triumphed at Moscow's first modern pig races, an event held by Russian pig farmers who were trying to revive a little-known racing tradition that captured the imagination of Russian country fairs and the nobility over a century ago. For the pigs, this is a chance not only to win a pail of carrots with whipped cream dressing, but also to escape the slaughterhouse and capture porcine glory. The group of 15 3-month-old racers went through a demanding selection process. Veterinarians and trainers specially selected the candidates who were under observation from birth. The pigs had to be not only strong and fast, but also unafraid of loud crowds and willing to follow commands. Apollo's trainer, Andre, said that the human-pig connection also played a role. He says you must love your pig. Head veterinarian Sergei Spirin said that all the pigs had learned to overcome their initial fears and sharpen a passion for racing. Even pigs with competitive spirit still had to be lured to the finish with water and carrots. They are, after all, still growing piggies with big appetites. However, they themselves won't end up in anyone's stomach. Head trainer Vladimir Prusakov said that his farm has already struck a deal to use his sporty piggies in order to breed future champions. Now it's a gold medal for Apollo, and tomorrow he moves on to the next step in his life: eating, sleeping, breeding, and going down in the annals of Russian pig history. Berlin Zoo's new baby hippo took its first bath in front of curious visitors. The youngest of a herd of 5 cannot yet swim and wasn't all too pleased about the now starting daily trips to the pool. But they are necessary for it to get used to. When things get too exhausting, the baby hippo uses the back of its mum to rest. Zookeepers say the young hippo is totally dependent on its mother. It only feeds on milk, sometimes chews a bit of grass, but can't really eat it. In order to breathe, the little hippo has to catapult itself from the bottom to the surface of the water. It's quite a challenge for the youngster because the water in the pool is quite deep. Almost 2 meters in many places. So the hippo has to jump from the bottom to the surface. And in some places, that is quite a sporting challenge.